Okay, everybody, I know you can't see me right away. Just got to fix the camera here. But we are back here for the NASCAR Pinty Series Power Hour. Let me get the camera working. Just needed to turn it on. And let's make myself a little bit bigger here. Looks like the setting didn't stay that I was hoping with. How we doing, everybody? It is a beautiful, warm night here. And we have got the NASCAR Pinty Series Power Hour. What an amazing weekend it was. For the first time in a couple years, we went back out to Edmonton and finally got to see some racing out. The Western drivers were in full force. Chantal Kalika, Jamie Krizik out there in Edmonton. What a race we did get to see. Got a little bit of a different look here on the podcast. We've made a little bit of graphic changes. I'm trying to make improvements each and every week here. We've got a solid turnout of people already tuning in. So first off, what I want you to do, if you have access and are able to catch on YouTube and you are able to comment, I'd love to know what your rating of the race is. We'll do it from a scale of 1 to 10. Let me know, because I kind of found that this race was phenomenal. It was, it gave a lot. Yeah, sure, there was a familiar winner, and he dominated once again. But I think overall, this race really had everything. Kyle Edgar, I know that you want to talk about that. That's obviously a very big story. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know how that happened. I don't know what they're going to do about it. It's obviously, yeah, okay, well, you guys can be upset all you want, okay? But you have to remember that happens all the time, right? This type of stuff happens let's talk about the Cup Series. It happened on the Cup Series side as well, right? So at the end of the day, I don't know if they're going to make that move. They need to, in my opinion. If there was a car, which it does sound as if there was some shenanigans that took place, definitely there needs to be something done, whether it's points, whether it's taking the win away. They're pushing the envelope for sure with the Paye team. But if they're in that position, I would imagine they're going to. You're brand new into the series. You want to go out and win. You've got probably the top crew chief in the series. You're going to push it as far as you can. Now, the only problem with that, and I think Kyle and Brandon would probably have the same feeling, is that you're just going to piss off the rest of the field here, and it's going to continue to alienate, and you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt here. It's not. This is different. 20 other cars made the appropriate changes within the rules. One guy didn't. I can't say because I wasn't there, Brandon. I don't know. One of the problems that I found with the series here is there's a lot of people that if they're not in the actual situation, they'll talk. However, Ranger as the top crew chief in the series, I might be a little impartial there because you're picking Caden Lapsovich, who's brand new as a crew chief. However, I would say in the past history, McCluskey is known to be the top. He's got 3 championships. Caden has not won a championship as a crew chief. Do I think that he's going to be really good? Absolutely. I think he's perfect. Would I prefer Caden behind the wheel? 100%. Way more. There seems to be some talk, Murray, about potential, I think it's the suspension issues, the cars not being completely legal. In Toronto, there was also a problem with this, not regarding to the suspension, I don't believe, but maybe to do with tires. I don't make those decisions. And this is where having somebody say like Jeff Wilcox, who was a long time in tech, would have been helpful, right? But if I'm not mistaken, everybody does this in racing. So people being upset is absolutely true because it's not fair. At the end of the day, winning with a car that might not be legal is a huge problem. An absolutely huge problem. But we see it time in and time out. However, the difference was, as we were talking about earlier, the Cup race, while it still had it, what did they do? They penalized them. Now, if so many better than, okay, well, Don, you're entitled to your opinion, absolutely. I'm going to go out and say McCluskey has won 3 championships in the series in the last couple of years with LP Dumoulin. He's pretty good. Okay? Definitely. 100% agree. If it's illegal, it's illegal. However, one thing that's really disturbing about this whole story is there's not been a release from NASCAR about it. If this has happened, Don, listen, you're tuning into the show. I'm allowed to talk about what I want to talk about. All right? It's not you dictating what's going on here, right? You can be upset all you want, but at the end of the day, I can compare it to whatever I want to, right? I can compare it and say it is the same situation. It is a racing, right? I can compare it and say it is the same situation. It is a racing series within NASCAR where somebody did something wrong and won the race. Now, the difference was in this series, they won the race and nothing has happened. In the Cup Series, they were disqualified. There's the difference. Now, whether or not they're going to make that change, I don't feel that they make announcements when it comes to penalties. It just kind of happens, and then there's no release. That kind of stuff needs to come out because people need to know about it. Especially because I've been in this garage. I know that there's a lot of talk all the time about stuff that's legit and stuff that isn't legit. People talk all the time. The problem is it legit or is it something that people assume? Now, this case is kind of cut and dry. There's a lot of people that have said that this is what happened. And if that's the case, NASCAR needs to do something about it yesterday. Because it's already happened multiple times where people have made these adjustments and it's still not fair to the competition. Now, again, I'm going to go out and say that at the end of the day, everybody needs to be fair. Everybody needs to be within the rules. And if they're not, it's clear and cut and dry in the Cup Series. If you make this move, you are disqualified. So somebody is not doing their job if this is happening. It's a tough situation because obviously we're allowed as Pinty Series fans to be upset about it. However, at the end of the day, people are going to take shortcuts however they want. It dates all the way back. In motorsports, it's always been the case that people take shortcuts. It's just if you get caught or not. Now, the story is they did get caught and then they still were able to run the car. I'm only taking what people are telling me. I can't say because I have not seen the situation. I don't know. Exactly, Kyle. They knew about it ahead of time, which, again, why are we not releasing those details like they do for, say, the Cup Series? That doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very good. Now, in a series this year, where it's been the most competitive that it's been in a long time, there's a considerable difference between how the performance is of one team and everybody else. And it's noticeable. You take somebody who maybe hasn't had and hasn't been at the top of the series in his entire career, and then all of a sudden is, people are going to question that. Now, obviously, I'm going to be inquiring about this a little bit more. I found out about there's a bit more, I think, that is happening behind the scenes. I know that there are people that are not happy. I know there are drivers and teams who are absolutely furious, and they have every right to be. If this is what's happened, and the only reason I'm saying if, and I'm taking what people are saying in the chat, I'm listening to it. But because I'm not part of it, I can't just make an assumption, right? I can't assume that that's the actual fact, okay? Because I know they're part of it. It's it's tough because being somebody that's trying to represent the series, I am not trying to tick anybody off. I'm trying to just listen to everybody's opinion. However, if I keep hearing something like this, I have to question, why is it that we don't know about it? Why is that not coming out? I know, now I could be wrong, and maybe somebody can confirm. I don't know. Do they announce penalties like this in the ARCA series and the NASCAR Root series? Because if they don't, it's something they should be doing. You have to be consistent across the board. And if somebody is being caught week in and week out with penalties, that's something that really fans want to know. Because if you're making these adjustments and honestly making mistakes, that's okay. But if you're doing it and knowing that you're not following the rules, in my opinion, that's a bit of a slap in the face to the fans. It's a slap in the face to the competitors, because we want to see fair racing. We don't want to see people take those advantages, those shortcuts. You should be able to do it based off of your own knowledge and your team presence. And if you're going to do that, that's not really making the series very fun. That's what it's only going to be about, is who can cheat. Sorry, Kyle's commented quite a bit. So Kyle says they do. So if they do this for ARCA, they need to do it here. And listen, I'm the biggest Pinty's fan out there. I will support the series week in and week out. However, there are things I want to know. If there's a penalty on a crew member, if there's penalties there, it is no crew chief makes a mistake. Planned mistakes is what I mean, Don. Planned. Okay? Shortcuts are taken. Now, I asked somebody within NASCAR when it was back in the day, how do people do this? And it was, yeah, of course they did. Right? People make this type of stuff all the time. But however, in this day and age with social media, we need to know this stuff. Because especially when I'm going out there and I'm trying to talk about the race, and I have people that are saying, oh, well, this is complete trash, this is this and this and this because of all these reasons, and I have no idea about it. Right? Sorry, Kyle. Here we go. That's what we want to know. If I was the teams, I would stay on the hauler till they figure it out or not. Absolutely, I would. Absolutely. If I was one of those teams, are you kidding? I wouldn't let them get away with that. They're finally starting to get good car counts, and they're going to ruin it again. If they don't get a hold of this, absolutely. Because what's going to happen is that people are going to get upset because it's not fair, and then they're going to pull out and go race somewhere else. It's exactly what's going to happen, Kyle. Exactly what's going to happen. You have to kick this stuff in the butt. Now, I'm a huge fan of Jeff Wilcox, who was part of the series for so many years as their tech guy. He's not there this year. I would love to see him come back in that role in the future. I think you need to have somebody that people know, that knows the rules in and out. I'm not saying that the people that are in tech right now don't know it, but you either try this shit with people or you don't. If it's clear and cut, don't do this again, then fine. But what hasn't happened yet is I have not heard of any penalties in terms of points and wins being taken away. And that's maybe what we need to do if it continues. Again, you push the limit as far as you can, but what do we do at the top ends of NASCAR? They took away first and second yesterday because of penalties. You lost the race. You lost all of your points for that day. In this series, that would do some serious damage. So, again, I listen and I hear what you guys are saying. Absolutely. I don't have privileged knowledge yet because I wasn't at Edmonton to know about it. All I know is that there has been some shenanigans earlier in the year, and it hasn't really stopped. The chatter is there. Now, whether or not this continues all season, that will be a problem if it does, because there are people, sadly to say, that won't happen in the mini-series. It's got to stop being so negative, man. We got to try, really. There's got to be some sort of a solution here. I know there's people that want to see the series succeed, like myself. Being more open from the top to the bottom, that's what the series needs. It needs that open communication, 100%. Not bringing politics in here, Brandon. That's not what this chat is for. It's not what the show is for. Especially when it comes to politics, because there's no one that'll ever agree on the same things. But if we want change, we have to enforce it. We have to. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed. I have issues with the way that this specific issue, if it's fully legit, it needs to be out in public. I don't see the sense in keeping things quiet. Because if somebody's not doing something correctly, what does NASCAR do it all the time? They held a press conference for JGR at the end of that race win. Brad Moran, who's from this series, went out there and did it. So it can be done. Now, if there is advances, from a proven source said that Techman at least didn't walk away with as much. See, that, Brandon, is worrisome. If that's what we're hearing. And that's what I'm saying. You need to have it clear cut. And if you screw up, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is, Brandon, that the penalty is not stiff enough. And maybe that's what it is. If you automatically lose all your points for that race and you get DQ'd, or you lose, I don't know about losing crew chief in this series. I don't know if that would really make a big difference. But losing the points would definitely do it. Losing basically your race result, especially if you were to win. So I don't know if they're gonna ever make that call. I don't know. I don't run the series, but I would appreciate being just a little more open as to if there are penalties. Releasing that through a press release or a tweet or a post, something, because otherwise what's happening is we're getting a chain of hearsay, right? It needs to come directly from the series and say, hey, this is what happened, this is what they did, and this is how we're penalizing them. It shouldn't be It's tough. It's tough, Brandon. It's true. You finally do get a great car count, really. I wouldn't say that that's been all season, though. I mean, it's tough. That's what I'm saying. That's not being tough enough. Because at the end of the day, that didn't really matter, did it, Kyle? It didn't, right? That played no role at all. Right? I would definitely think that there's a lot of things that they need to work on. But again, in terms of the racing itself, the racing was great. I think Edmonton is a very, very good track. I've forgotten how tight of a track it really is. 300 laps was pretty good there. Okay. Yeah, so, Brendan, you're gonna have to watch that. That's not really called for. Okay, just terminology just didn't race him nice enough. I would disagree in terms of just Newfoundland. I would say there's a bit more. There's a bit more races that's how he's raced. It's not just Newfoundland. In my opinion, actually, Newfoundland, Trayton was going to win that. He was way quicker at the end. Just didn't push him. And I feel like if Trayton was trying to be respectful, but I mean, he had the better car at the end of Newfoundland. That was 100% true. No, Brandon, no, it's not. You got to be a little bit careful, okay? We don't need to be barking down that tree, okay? Let's take a look at the results of our race in Edmonton. So, here's the thing. Tough day for a lot of guys, actually. 22 Racing, man. I'm not sure what's going on. I've heard that crew chief changes and stuff, their personnel that aren't back there, but they've had a lot of mechanical issues. The 20 car, Trayton said in his post race that they had a battery die mid race, which again, I don't know if it's a sophomore slump. Which car are you talking about, Murray? You're talking about the 96? I believe it does. Or at least it should. In terms of all the cars that were out there, no, I don't know. I wouldn't imagine so. They were working on the car at least today from their visual standpoint. They were posting pictures and stuff. I'm very curious, Brandon, Kyle, Don, who you guys cheer for. I would assume it's not the 96, maybe not the 27. Tough deal for the 20 team. Man, he's had some really good. Is that what happened? The alternator? Man, it's tough because Trayton was so good last year, and maybe it's just a sophomore slump this year. It just don't seem to have the luck, unfortunately. He and Brandon, for that matter, because Brandon Watson, I know Don said he gave him a taste of his own medicine. I think Watson's I don't know if but this is the thing, Don, is I don't know. Will he repay him? I don't know Brandon well enough to know whether or not Brandon Watson is going to pay him back. So you're Caden Lapcevich fans, eh? That makes a lot of sense. Like I said, the 27, I am still saying that I would prefer to see Caden in the car. I think he'd make it even more fun. Someone who really only got one season, I think, to really prove that he belongs out there week in and week out. I'd say tough deal for Brett Taylor again. Very unfortunate. Just no luck for the 3 car. And okay, Don. Okay, French or Watson. Okay, so just specifically Watson. That's hilarious. Does he have past experience? Is it because of stuff in APC? I'd love to know that. That's very funny, actually. And I get the not supporting people from Quebec, Ontario, Quebec rivalry. Sure, I happen to like a lot of people from both. So, but Watson, that's funny. Actually, I like that. Don, you gotta explain though. You can't just say. Brett is confirmed for Saskatoon. Brandon, holy moly, that's a but again, equal cars on what grounds though? Are we talking equal 22 racing cars or equal Fastline cars? Because I don't know if the performance would be the same if they ran Fastline cars, 22 racing cars. That's a tough question. But Caden is way more aggressive on the track, where I think Trayton's a lot more reserved. So, and Wes asks a great question, which track as well, because I think Trayton showed a bit more on the road courses. But man, that is holy moly, is that a tough question. Brandon, we need to get him out there. I think that's what we need. We need Caden Lapcevich to get out there and race his brother. I think you bring in Ryden as well. Make it 3 of them. I think Wes is correct there. If it's yes, Brandon. Whichever one Trayton packs enough for your clips. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'd see in terms of this series, I think aggressiveness on the short tracks pays off. I feel you're going to have some, and in terms to move somebody, Caden has no problems moving people. Absolutely no issue with it. He's a little bit bigger too, right? So he's got a bit more stock involved if he needs to get physical with people. So Cameron wins, Lacroix second, Ranger third, Dumoulin fourth, Donald Teague in his very Ryden sucks. Man, you are just only a Caden Lapcevich fan, eh, Brandon? Donald Teague, Brandon Watson in the 9 car. Then you've got DJ Kennington. Gary Clute was running top 5 and just faded at the end. Dexter Stacy, once again, a very solid top 10 finish for him. And Jamie Krizik hasn't run the series since 2019. I never said that. I said he's stocky. I didn't say he's fat. You have no idea. Why would I, of all people, call Caden Lapcevich fat? I got nothing on him. He's got nothing on me, man. Nothing at all. Yeah, it's funny. Saskatoon is Kyle. That's actually known as now Sutherland Automotive Raceway. It's we don't have a picture, but we have raced there before, Kyle. So there will be some stuff on there for sure. JP Bergeron, Mark Dilley, who's been really fast this year. Actually, Mark has been really, really good. Brandon's making the hot takes on the Lapceviches, saying Jeff is the wow, man. What about Jim? You forgot about Jim and Nick. You got to have all the Lapceviches if you're going to do that. Got to add Jim and Nick, because remember, Nick Lapcevich raced in the series too. Wallace Stacy gets his best finish. Chantel Kalika, solid run for her. Raphael Lessard, man, we talk about bad luck. Can't get anything going, unfortunately, with EHR. Trayton Lapcevich. Alex Tagliani got into some really big contact with Brandon Watson, and it sounds as if, and I mean, it really did look like it, that Brandon just turned down on him, and well, there you go. And then Brian Cathcart had mechanical problems again, unfortunately. And then Brett Taylor, man, no luck, unfortunately, for him, and it just didn't really work out. The Bayer 300. So Sutherland Automotive is where we're going next. Formerly known as Wyant Group. It's gone through quite a bit of name changes, actually. I think it was Auto Clearing before that. So there's at least... Now, if... I don't know, Kyle, I'm dating myself here, but if you have NR 2003, there is a version of Auto Clearing, which is now obviously Saskatoon, that you can use if you ever want to try out actually driving the track. It's obviously not going to be an iRacing. 18 car, they got to do anything else, Kyle, though? No suspension damage to the 18, because he did pretty well. He hit the wall a ton on the right hand side, and I think that's not over. I wouldn't think that that's over. Brandon got into Donald Teague and Chaudier, and Teague paid him back, and Tag paid him back. So they're not going to take much crap from the 9 car this year. He's been fast, but he's getting into shenanigans with people. He's getting contact, and again, there's people not afraid to pay you back if you do that. We'll continue on here with the point standings as we wait to kind of hear if there's anything coming out of the 18. Yeah, right front suspension damage. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you've got 2 more races you got to do, and that wasn't a smart... Like, I understand the payback, but if you're battling for a championship, not really the best move at the end of the day. Yes, I've heard of this De La Bay's back bumper is still torn off from Caden years ago. I will tell you, Brandon, Caden, it's probably my favorite race is, was it Chaudier? Between Lapcevich and LeBay, like side by side for maybe 15, 20 laps. It was fantastic. Just side by side, no contact, nothing. Cameron leads 2 points over Kevin Lacroix, 17 over Gary Clute, who's really done a fantastic job this season. It's been a while since he's run a full season. You know what? Look at the way that this season ends. You've got iCar and you have CTMP, 2 places where Gary Clute is actually really, really good. He hasn't been at iCar, but also you've got GP3R, which is another one. So if Gary Clute gets 3 wins, I mean, that puts him in the championship battle as well. I mean, he's 17 points behind. That's not crazy. I mean, I don't think anybody would have, not saying that Gary doesn't deserve it, but I don't think people would have expected that he was going to be so good all season, and it's well overdue. Gary is one of the best representations for this series. He's one of the really underrated talents. He's very similar to Matthew Skinnell in that sense, in that they're both really good road racers from Ontario that just don't go crazy flashy when they're on the road courses and street courses, but they typically do very, very well. this was like I said, a bit of a disappointment weekend for Trayton Lapcevich. It sucks, unfortunately. I kind of felt Trayton's his start of a season, even though he won the race, it still wasn't a dominant kind of performance. He's only led, I think, 3 laps this whole year. So it's just a sophomore kind of slump, and hopefully he'll be able to rebound. Andrew Ranger, again, can't really count him out any week. Bergeron, solid rookie season for him. Dave Jacobs, those Mustangs look really good on the road courses. Dexter Stacey continuing his strong season. Mark Dilley has been fast, just hasn't had the finishes. Wallace Stacey, Brian Cathcart, Raphael Lessard, Larry Jackson. Really disappointed that Larry is not making the Western trip, unfortunately. They don't have the partnerships out west, and as far as I know, their full season is still in jeopardy. Clearly, he's not going to run the entire full season, but we don't even know if he's going to be out in Quebec right now. I believe he had mentioned to me that might have to run out of pocket, and you don't ever really want to have to do that. So that's a very difficult deal there. Glenn Stiers. Glenn's, I think he's still struggling out there at times, but I think he's improving in these cars. TJ Renamoto is going to run the next race in Saskatoon. He was not at Edmonton. We've seen this kind of before. Last year he didn't race at Flamborough either, just from the belief that there could be a lot of carnage. And actually Edmonton was pretty safe. It wasn't fully nuts out there. I'm excited. I'm telling you right now, Dave Bailey would be a lot of fun. I think Dave is going to do really well. Actually, I saw somebody, I think it's Randy Slack, is also going to run the Pinty's race. We haven't really heard a ton of the Canadian names that are going to run. Obviously, we know like Stuart Friesen and Christopher Bell are going to run at the Big O. But Dave Bailey, and I think Wes can confirm that was Randy Slack, I think, has got a Pinty's car that he's going to race there. Dave Bailey, I've also heard Aaron Turkey is going to race as well. Kyle, I believe it's just certain tracks he just doesn't feel comfortable. That was the reason I believe at Flamborough was that he felt it was going to be carnage. I'm just excited to see the Dave Bailey in a Dave Jacobs car, because Dave Jacobs cars are the best in the series, some of at least the best in the series, and Dave Bailey just completely dominates the dirt world, and I think will really surprise people with how good he'll be right off the bat. Aaron Turkey, I don't know much about. Wes would know way more about Aaron Turkey, and Randy Slack. I don't know much about him either. I'm not as familiar with the dirt world. I'm still trying to learn. I think guys like DJ Christie and maybe he's building the car for somebody. Okay, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think, and then we've got Kenny Schrader, who's going to run. Kenny Wallace, I think, was announced last year. I don't know if he is still doing it. He has a lot of connections though, so I could see Kenny Wallace still being a part of it. We know that somebody in the dirt world from Quebec is going to run. So I don't know if that's happening, Kyle. It's one of those things, like, I'm sure if it was happening, it would have been announced. I think they could, if it is happening, they're just waiting to build the excitement and make a big press release. But Clinton from Ohsweken, it says, Wes has said here, that he's not able to make it. He's got another commitment. I'm not sure what that is, Brandon. You have to explain to me. So the rest of the races are on the bottom of the screen. So you got GP3R, Ohsweken, ICAR, CTMP, and Delaware. That's the remainder of the schedule. Right now we're over halfway through the season. Actually, we will be as of Wednesday. DiVincenzo is here. Which you could be out there in the APC series this year, Tyler. Tough not seeing you out there. That's pretty much it for this week. We're looking to see two more strong races, at least, at Sutherland. 125 lappers. That's more or less what I think you're going to see. Some really strong races for Trayton and Brandon Watson. They're very used to those with the APC series. Good. Glad to hear it, DiVincenzo. Is very noticeable that you weren't in the APC series field this year. Felt you guys were making a lot of gains the last couple of seasons. So, hopefully you get out there, man. We really want to see you out there, and that's tough. Tough when guys aren't able to run. Got to see that Maker Pizza car out there again, man. That's always one of the favorites to see. Kyle Villeneuve's only running GP3R. That's not going to be more. He's not going to do more than that. I'm a little worried about Villeneuve being there anyways. Just from past experience, when he has run in, say, Xfinity, when he's, well, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. I know when he was in the V8 Supercar Series, gaining the pizza weight. Oh man, shots fired. Jeez, what a crowd, eh, Tyler? Jeez, is that the reason? Is that the reason you're not running out there? You can't fit in the car anymore. I would know what that's like. That'll be good though. Let's see if we can get Tyler DiVincenzo back out there on the APC series. So the field that's heading to Sutherland actually will be a little bit bigger of a field than what we got. Here's what we've got in terms of what the expectation is going to be. I don't know if we're going to see anybody else. The official entry list had 23. I think that's still where we're at for Sutherland. Glenn Stiers, Bergeron, Rinamato will be back out there. And then Brett Taylor, we can expect to be, he did say he will be there actually, so he'll see him. Lassard, Watson, Kennington, Tagliani, Lapsevich. This is the one I'm really excited to see, is Kyle Steckley. That's going to be a great one to see. I'm very excited to see what the APC number 22 Chevrolet will be able to do. He's going off of 4 straight wins, 3 at Delaware in the weekly late models, and then of course the APC series. Andrew Ranger and Matt Shirley making his very first career start. Of course, that's a very well-known name. Why is the 96? Because it's possible that entry. Jamie Krizik. I really do hope though Steckley will. I just hope that they have the success this week, because it's so. I know how hard that they work in that shop, in the 22 Racing shop. It sucks. Does he race clean there? Not sure about this season so far. There's people in the chat, Murray, that I don't think agree with you. If it's Murray Grubb that's in the chat, we got to try and get Lane Zardo in this series, man. I can't wait to see him. If it's the 36 late model or super stock runs pretty good with Lane Zardo behind the wheel. It'd be pretty fun to watch out in this series for sure. We're not expecting anybody else really any different, except for Matt Shirley and Kyle Steckley, Chantel Kalika, and it'll be fun, definitely for sure, to see who does what at this racetrack. Obviously, I think you're gonna. I still believe that Sutherland's very similar to a lot of those shorter like APC tracks, so a benefit hopefully to the Lapseviches, the Steckleys, for sure, and then Gary Clute did very, very well at Edmonton, so perhaps we'll see what he can do. But for sure, there's going to be a very interesting, probably about 23. I think it's officially 23 cars. As far as I know, nobody's withdrawn from the race. Hopefully, if there is going to be some action taken, which doesn't sound like there's going to be. Oh my God, Dale Shaw. Oh, absolutely. No, actually, Kyle, I can confirm that Jason was testing for Brett. Brett actually was on our Facebook live chat a couple days ago, and he confirmed that it was a brand new car that he bought that Jason tested for him. I don't believe he is going to be back. I know Brett definitely wants to be better, and I think when we look at it, Shea Gemmel had a really, really good season for them last year. Very, very impressive, and I would have hoped that he could have stayed, but as we know, there was a really bad wreck, one that I don't agree. I don't think enough was done on the move. There was an injury that came out of that, so I would hope that North Country Property does stick around, but it's tough. Dustin Monberquette, another name that I've heard a lot about. Sunset Speedway late model. I'd be curious though to see Dustin more in APC series. Cole Powell, Don has already told me no, he's not back. I was curious why that didn't stay, because he was doing really, really good in the 3-car, but I'm guessing the Kubota wanted somebody else. Yeah, DiVincenzo, they are. Oh, no, Brandon, absolutely not. We're not doing that. If that does happen, we're not gonna have any cars left. So, but it's true. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that you would want to see what they can do. The series roots, people tend to forget, unfortunately, but it is rooted in Ontario. Roots out of Delaware Speedway, and I actually think that one race for Delaware is not enough. Good, Don. That would be good to hear, because I spoke to him a couple months ago. So if Powell comes back out, he's fun to watch. Actually, I really like watching Cole Powell because he doesn't really care. But you know what, Don? You know what you got to do though is you got to have him and Jake Sheridan run the race together, because those two had some really fun comments for each other, and I think that would be very fun. Colton, in a New York minute, I would get him to run this series. No, Kyle, you don't want that. You don't want me driving nothing. I wouldn't be able to fit into one of these cars. Are you kidding? I'm not Colton size, but I'm not in terms of height. I'm a lot wider, and I'm a lot wider than, say, TJ and Mark. So I would not be fitting in these cars at all. Be a good way to lose some weight, though. But yeah, Colton Everingham would be fun. He's a great guy. Absolutely love that guy. There's just some Jake Whitefreckle. Well, I don't know, man. Would Jake or Nick be the better solution there, Don? I don't know. Because I know Ron was in the series for a long time, and Ron never really seemed to have an issue with anybody. So Gary Calling, the man, the legend himself, if he can fit. No. Yeah, I don't know about that, Brandon. Those windows are pretty small to get in. I need a full door to get open to be able to fit through those things. I remember Kyle Steck. We were at a 22 Racing shop, and Kyle's like, "Did you want to try and try it out?" And I'm like, I can't even get my left ass cheek in that car. No way. For sure. Yeah. There's a lot of guys though, like guys and gals throughout Ontario, and Ray Morneau was another guy that we talked about, and I think has a lot of talent. I still believe that Lane Zardo as well. Really, really, really good talent. It's just trying to get corporations to because that's what you really need, is you need those big corporations to come in and assist in getting names into the series. APC as well. I mean, APC is getting up there. I've heard superstar. I mean, Tyler would know. Butter. Yeah, you're funny. Well, Yeah, Don, that is true about Chenoweth. That's true. I mean, I'm more about his size. Yeah, I'm more about his size. So, oh man, that's yeah. I mean, I remember seeing Joe. yeah, but Gary, Joe Jr. told me that he had to get help to get in there. So, yeah, it would be a little difficult. Don't get me wrong, man. It would be very, very interesting for sure. So, but yeah, it'd definitely be good to see we can get guys back out there. DiVincenzo, got to get you going as well, man. Get out there and see what can happen for sure. I'd race, but I'm. Oh, we all know that's not true, Brandon. What's my opinion on Wendy's? If you look at this body, man, I've got a great opinion on Wendy's. There you go. For sure. It took 4 guys. Oh, Gary calling. Just one of the best out there. We're hoping to go out there. Gary Elliott would be somebody that would be fun. Quaker State car would be pretty cool too. Hey, listen, I created a Wendy's car already, and I put it out there that the Lapsoviches would be wicked. Wally Wilson, one of my favorites. Yeah. Strawberry Frosty. No. No. No, you go original or nothing. Strawberry, come on. Oh, get out of here with that. That's a blockable comment. Strawberry Frosty. All the respect I had for you coming out already. Man. But Gary Collin, man, really hoping that I'll get to be out at Flamborough Speedway for the Ontario Sportsman Series. Be able to go out there and see your beautiful racetrack. Absolutely love Flamborough. Wish we were going back this year. They did they reply to that car? Well, Wendy's may have, but then they never replied to me afterwards. I try, man. I try what I can, man. We got to get. Like I said, if you remember, if everybody goes back, remember Matt Kenseth the 17 Arby's car, and it said on the back, it said we'll race for free fries. Well, you got to do something like we'll race for Frosties, and I believe that's what I had said to them. In it was like, I'll rate like on Twitter, I think it was. Yeah, Gary, I just have to get a ride, man. I got to be able to announce a OSS race at Peterborough for the first time, and now OSS is asking if I could do a couple more. And right now, Flamborough is kind of the closest location compared to Southern Ontario, and Full Throttle for me. So that would be that would be okay. Slamborough text hard there. Well, it's hard to keep cars together, right? But yeah, I absolutely love that track. I think Pinty's really should go back. If it's up to me, there's Pinty's and Peterborough there, really, because I absolutely love both those tracks. Sad that we don't get to go in more races at those facilities. Tim Terry to Pinty's. Tim Terry's the best, of course, Brandon. We gotta have Tim Terry. Going out to Riverside would be cool too. I know that there's a lot of people that want to go back out there. And you do it. You gotta do Newfoundland. You've got to do Riverside. Like I've said it before. Like if you're gonna go out all the way there, Jamie Maudsley, one of the best, awesome guy. Him and Jordan actually. We'll be racing the Ontario Pro Challenge. You want us to do a car that I wouldn't be able to fit in? Would be the Ontario Pro Challenge cars. Yeah, Jesus. And then APC. It looks like APC's at Sauble, which would be interesting to watch that as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get out there for Flamborough this weekend. You live in Riverside, California? Come on. Or Riverside, Nova Scotia. And Ganesh. For sure. We've got 2 races coming up on Wednesday for the NASCAR Pinty Series, for sure. Hopefully no rain. And let's see what comes out of this. Obviously, we know what people's opinions are. It's not an popular opinion. It's a normal opinion for a lot of people. So we'll see if anything happens. And if anybody can stick it to the rest of the field, really. I still believe, I think this is a Trayton Lapsevich race. Something about Sutherland makes me think that that's going to be a really good track for him. Brandon Watson, probably around the same bit. And DJ Kennington has looked really fast this year as well. I wasn't crazy on his paint scheme when I first saw it, but oh God, Don, don't. No way. No, we're not going to this Chicago street course. No way. No, we so, I will say that somebody had posted that. Grant Brown had posted that on Twitter. And I understand the reasoning why you would say, pair it with a Cup Series, but we did the going down south thing, and that just loses money for the series. Like, it doesn't help us at all to go to to an American racetrack. You got to help the series and the tracks up here. I still believe that Delaware Speedway is the finale is a fantastic move. I think Ducasa, if they're ever going to make any traction there, now there's been so many rumors. It's been confirmed to me from the general manager that it is not closed, or it's not like torn down. It's not sold. It's just not in use right now. So we got to hopefully somebody will step up and help that track come back out, because I think, again, that's another place where there was so much investment put into it. You really need that track back. I don't know in terms of who the racing really was, how the racing really was, but I really liked that facility, and I thought that there could have been a bigger future, especially with all the work that they put into it. Way back when, obviously, Cayuga was on the schedule, and then we finally got Ducasa, and yeah, we'll be back Wednesday, of course, at Sutherland. Be very, very interesting to see who is going to come out with the 2 race victories. Obviously, in the past, we've seen Ranger win it. We've seen Dumoulin win it. We've seen Teej win it. We've seen here. Oh, Brandon, with some of the comments today, man. Wow. Shannonville, Gary, you know what? I've heard people talk about Shannonville again. You would know, though, I've been told that the track is not, it's not on their standards for NASCAR. I would love to see it because it's just another new facility. There's also that new test track for the FIA test track that they're making up in Oro Medonte. I would love to see what they're going to do with that track, because who knows? Maybe there's an option there as well. I would love to see it. Really, I would love to see what else we've got, especially Shannonville, because I believe there's no ownership there, and that owner is putting a lot into it. So it would be really, really cool to see week in and week out. It's a good problem to have, that we have so many tracks that we want to go and see the series at. Just going to be very interesting to see whether or not that actually happens. Obviously, the biggest thing is it is going to be really, really hard to come out of this season if the prices don't drop. That's the reality. There's a lot of teams that it's a lot of money for gas, a lot of money. It's too outdated, Kyle says. So Shannonville, if it needs a lot of work, is what you're saying, I assume. And I believe that's the same for Flamborough and Peterborough. I believe that's the reasoning behind it. I kind of like that it has that type of charm, but I mean, I don't make the decisions, right? Don, if you before we wrap it up, Don, that Pinty's to Varney, holy moly. Peterborough, like I said, I watched CASCAR in Peterborough, Tyler, and it was amazing. I still remember it was one of the fantastic tracks. But Varney, oh boy. If we thought that they wadded these cars up before at Delaware, holy geez, can you imagine them at Varney? They wouldn't make it to the front straightaway. Calabogie would be pretty good too, actually. I've heard things about that as well. So lots of things to talk about. And Grand Bend, there's another one. Oh, Brandon, you're an American. That explains a lot. It explains a lot of what we've heard today. What's that? What's that stuff with cheese, fries, and gravy? I'm not sure what you're talking about because it's not cheese fries and gravy. It is cheese curds, fries, and gravy. If you're gonna make a comment, man, you got to be right. You don't get this body from eating healthy. Come on. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in for the NASCAR Pinty Series Power Hour. We'll be back next week. Talk about the race in Sutherland. Look forward to GP3R. We'll see who comes out of it with the race victory. I want to thank Louis Fredette for the photo on the page. Also join the NASCAR Pinty Series Facebook group. Now 5,000 members strong. And we will catch you all next week for sure. And yes, Tyler, he's got to get it right. If you're going to make comments about Canadian food, you got to make sure you got the right ingredients in it. All right, everybody. Have a great week. We will chat with you all next week on GeForce TV.